It's midnight and you are tuning into Nightline with me, Sabrina Zainal. The headlines. Flights resume as volcanic ash clouds from Mount Ruang start clearing. And government agrees to consider extending allocations to opposition MPs. Good morning. We begin with this story. Tens of thousands of airline passengers bound for flights between the peninsula and East Malaysia were left stranded on Thursday due to the eruption of Mount Ruang in North Sulawesi, Indonesia. However, the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, CAAM, stated that the weather forecast showed the volcanic ash clouds formed following the eruption had started clearing starting at 7 p.m. and several airlines have reinstated certain flights scheduled to and from East Malaysia. In a statement, CAAM Chief Executive Officer Datuk Captain Nur Azman Mahmud said air traffic controllers in East Malaysia have been instructed to extend their operating hours to assist with the resumption of flights, many of which were cancelled or delayed. Earlier, the CAAM alerted that the eruption of Mount Ruang volcano had generated ash clouds heading towards the Kota Kinabalu Flight Information Regions, FIR, potentially endangering aircraft safety within that airspace. The eruption also affected flight operations between the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA, and major airports in East Malaysia.
Rasa kecewa lah. Ni besok dah start kerja. Habis tiket cuti dah si banyak dah. Dah pakai gaya dek. Tinggal 3 hari lagi nak apply cuti lagi. Susah lah. Iyalah. Kecewa.
Tadi ada call mas yang dia punya center dekat KL tu pun sama juga jawapan dia. Dia akan bagi secepat yang mungkin lah. Yang bila flight seterusnya. Tapi inilah kami belum tahu lagi ni. Jadi susah sama kami lah. Kos lagi kan, mau pergi antar barang semua lagi, mau tempat tidur lagi.
In light of the flight disruptions, Malaysia Airlines is offering affected customers a one-time change to their travel itinerary free of charge or the option to request a full refund regardless of their fare family. The national carrier said this after it had cancelled 19 flights between KLIA and destinations in Sabah and Sarawak following Mount Ruang's volcanic eruption. Meanwhile, in its latest statement, low-cost carrier AirAsia said it had reinstated 19 flights, among others involving the Bintulu, Kuching, Sibu, Johor Bahru and Kota Bharu routes. The airline also said it has notified all affected passengers and encouraged them to check their registered email and mobile phones for notifications. Prior to this, it said that affected passengers can move their flights by making a one-time change to any new travel date within 30 days from the original departure date on the same route without additional cost, subject to seat availability. Also affected by the eruption was Batik Air, which cancelled its scheduled flights for East Malaysia routes involving Kota Kinabalu, Kuching, Tawau and Sibu. Now, the Sabah government will monitor the effects of Indonesia's Mount Ruang's volcanic eruptions. Chief Minister Datuk Sri Haji Noor also assured that the safety of the people will be state government's main priority. In a statement, Haji said he has been briefed on the situation and will be keeping tabs on the matter closely. It was believed that more than 20,000 airline passengers were affected following the suspension of all scheduled flights coming in and out of airports in Kota Kinabalu, Labuan, Tawau and Sandakan on Thursday. In the meantime, Indonesia's National Disaster Mitigation Agency has ordered more than 11,000 residents living around Mount Ruang in North Sulawesi to evacuate their homes following an increase in its eruption intensity that has prompted the authorities to raise the volcano's alert status to red. As of Thursday morning, the volcano was still spewing volcanic ash that reached up to 800 meters in height, with increased high volcanic activity and the potential for another eruption. Following this, officials have flagged the risk of a tsunami, warning tourists and residents to remain outside a 6-kilometer exclusion zone, which includes some parts of Tagulandang Island next to the volcano. On Wednesday, the Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation raised the alert status into warning level, the highest level of the country's 4-tier volcano alert system. In one of the largest eruptions recorded that day, occurring at around 9 p.m. local time, the volcano spewed hot ash that reached 3,000 meters in height. The first eruption of the 725-meter-high Mount Ruang was recorded on Tuesday, following weeks of heightened volcanic activity, including multiple earthquakes since earlier this month. The eruption also prompted Indonesian Transport Ministry to shut an international airport in the provincial capital of Manado to protect against the showers of ash from the eruption. The ministry, in a statement, said the Samratulangi airport will be closed for 24 hours due to the safety threat warned by aviation authorities. Due to flight cancellations, people stranded at the airport expressed their dissatisfaction, saying there should have been a notification from the airport or airline since the disaster occurred on Wednesday.
Terus terang saya kecewa lah dengan airport atau maskapai, tidak ada pemberitahuan 1x24 jam atau sebelum dari semalam pas bencana itu harusnya udah ada pemberitahuan. Nah, masalahnya saya dari Kota Mobagu ke Manado itu 4 jam loh.
Kita udah loading bagasi, check-in barang, kemudian kita tunggu 1 jam. Setelah itu ada pemberitahuan di cancel.
Kenapa katanya?
Ada letusan Gunung Ruang.
Di sini ya?
Di sini, betul. Manado yang kena dampak.
Moving on, high-impact projects such as the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, JSZ, and Special Financial Zone, SFZ, in Forest City can spur Johor's economy to outpace that of other states in the next 1 to 2 years. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said both JSZ and SFZ will ensure a more rapid growth for the state as well as strengthen bilateral ties between both nations.
Sekarang adakan zon ekonomi yang khas yang boleh menjalin hubungan yang akrab dengan Singapura. Kita adakan zon kewangan khas di sekitar Forest City. Ini semua petanda-petanda di mana negeri Johor akan mencatat pertumbuhan yang sangat pesat.
Anwar told this to reporters during the Johor-level Madani Aidil Fitri celebration in Johor Bahru on Thursday. Also present were Johor Menteri Besar Datuk On Hafiz Ghazi, Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin, and former Deputy Prime Minister Tun Musa Hitam. At the event, Anwar also noted that Johor continues to drive growth and record among the best progress and development in Malaysia. Earlier, the Prime Minister also chaired a special meeting on Johor development in Iskandar Putri with the Menteri Besar and other ministers. The meeting discussed several matters, including the JSZ and SFZ in Forest City. These initiatives aim to improve cross-border travel, strengthen the business ecosystem, and attract new investments. The unity government has agreed in principle to consider extending allocations to elected representatives from the opposition. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadillah Yusof said a draft Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) will be drawn up and extended to the opposition for further discussions. Fadillah, in a statement, said the decision was reached during a meeting of the Unity Government Secretariat's top leadership held at Sri Perdana Complex on Wednesday afternoon. The matter was agreed upon in a meeting that lasted over an hour, chaired by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Also in attendance were Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and top leaders of the component parties of the Unity Government. Fadillah, who is also the Unity Government Chief Whip, had previously said the Secretariat would meet to discuss the allocation issue for opposition MPs following a meeting with Perikatan Nasional leaders on March 19th. The meeting was held with Opposition Leader Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, PN Chief Whip Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan, and Bersatu Vice President Datuk Seri Ronald Kiandi. Perikatan Nasional PN, meanwhile, has welcomed the government's decision to provide allocations to its MPs and assemblymen. However, opposition leader Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, in a statement on Thursday, said PN will make a decision on the matter after carefully examining the conditions in the draft of the MOU being prepared by the government. In other news, 2 bank officers have been arrested by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission for allegedly soliciting bribes totaling more than 300,000 ringgit from several law firms in Malacca. The 2, aged 35 and 43, have been remanded for 4 days until April 21st. They were detained when they turned up at the MACC office in Ahli on Wednesday evening to have their statements recorded. The 2 work at a reputed bank, where one of them is attached to the headquarters in Petaling Jaya, while the other is an officer at a branch in Malacca. Both the officers had allegedly demanded kickbacks from several law firms as inducements for referring property buyers to these firms for documentation purposes to apply for loans. Malacca MACC Director Adi Supian Shafi confirmed the arrests. Still to come, India prepares for the world's largest election. Don't go away.
Dapatkan arah kiblat, doa harian dan Al-Quran secara digital di aplikasi Waktu Solat Malaysia, kini berwajah baru.
Kepetahan wartawan cilik mewarnai dunia penyiaran.
Hai hampa semua, anak dara tercekik Alkom. Assalamualaikum. Cita-cita Haziq ada banyak. Nak jadi wartawan, lepas tu nak jadi MA. Mak pesan, nak famous juga tapi pelajar is number 1.
Tema ni semua bermula daripada kitchen cabinet. Saya namakan tema saya Rustic Farmhouse sebab kombinasi colour dia.
Collection kita tahun ni adalah berkonsepkan klasik, tradisional tapi modern.
Nona di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Kita akan mengembara ke 1274 tahun yang lalu yang sangat hebat yang dimiliki oleh sebuah empire Islam.
Ketika dunia Islam dipanggil era keemasan, Eropah dikenali sebagai golongan The Dark Ages.
Apapun jawatan kita, apapun peranan kita, beriman mesti dengan berilmu.
Untuk kita berada di puncak, pendidikan mesti menjadi satu perkara yang sangat penting.
Bukan sebuah empire yang sembarangan, empire kebanggaan kita.
We're back with the foreign front. The Zionist regime launched more deadly strikes on besieged Gaza on Thursday as world powers watched nervously whether the country would retaliate against a weekend attack by its arch-enemy Iran. During the past 24 hours, the regime had killed at least 71 Palestinians and wounded 106 others in the enclave. However, the Zionist forces withdrew from the Nusayrat refugee camp and the village of Mikraka after 7 days of siege and raids. The operation resulted in 520 casualties and destroyed 14 towers, residential buildings, and dozens of homes. Meanwhile, the U.S. has reportedly approved a potential Israeli Rafah operation in exchange for the Jewish state not conducting counterstrikes on Iran. According to officials, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu managed to obtain American approval for a military operation in Rafah in exchange for Israel refraining from carrying out a wide military operation against Iran in response to its recent attack. Meanwhile, Palestinians in Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza returned to their neighborhoods on Thursday after Israeli forces retreated from the camp on Wednesday. Residents walked among the rubble and inspected their homes, some of which were severely damaged or destroyed.
هاي بيتي متبقى جزء بسيط من بيتي مش قادرة أصل له يعني لو نفسي أطلع أخذ أي شغلة بسيطة من بيتي آخر نظرة على بيتي آخر يعني حلمي وانهدم ما فيش كلام خلص الصورة بتعبر حد مش قادر يتكلم مش عارف إيش يتذكر إيش ذكريات حلوة آخر مرة نظر على البيت مش قادر حتى أصل بيت مش عارف مكان بيتي وين بالضبط يعني بتطلع بحدد شكلي مش ملهاش ملامح سابني على الكلمة لآخر لحظة عندي عمل يصير وقت إطلاق نار وأرجع على بيتي.
India on Thursday was preparing for the world's largest general election with 969 million registered voters eligible to cast their vote using 5.5 million electronic voting machines over 44 days. Election officials have to travel through treacherous terrains to ensure that nobody misses out on their voting rights. The first of 7 phases of the Indian national election is set to kick off on Friday, with results set for June 4th. These elections are for the 543 seats of the Lok Sabha, India's lower house of parliament. The two principal coalitions directly facing off as contenders are the National Democratic Alliance, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, and a coalition of 26 parties called the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, led by the Indian National Congress. Now, Croatia's ruling Croatian Democratic Union, HDZ party, on Thursday prepared for difficult talks to form a coalition after winning parliamentary election without a majority and with a far-right party as potential kingmakers. According to the latest preliminary results, the HDZ won 61 seats in the 151-seat parliament, while a coalition led by the opposition, Social Democratic Party, SDP, came in second with 42 seats. The far-right Homeland Movement, in the meantime, took the third place with 14 seats, giving it a decisive role since the HDZ has ruled out working with the main opposition, SDP. Homeland, however, has yet to come out with a clear choice which bloc it will join, as its president, Ivan Paniva, said the party has pledged not to join either bloc, but will consider options. Google said on Thursday it had terminated 28 employees after some staff participated in protests against the company's cloud contract with the Israeli government. It was understood that a small number of protesting employees entered and disrupted work at a few unspecified office locations. Google said it had concluded individual investigations, resulting in the termination of 28 employees, and would continue to investigate and take action as needed. Meanwhile, Google workers affiliated with the No Tech for Apartheid campaign said that some employees who did not directly participate in Tuesday's protests were also among those Google fired. Google and Amazon have a $1.2 billion contract to provide cloud computing services to the Israeli government and military, known as Project Nimbus. Hilal's record-breaking run of wins comes to an end. Sports after this breather.
Unlock the keys to lasting career success. Explore the fine lines between stability and growth, and learn how to avoid stagnation.
I believe there's only one you, and only you can be you. And you have to be unique.
Yes.
And if you're unique, that means you have something nobody else has.
When you want to be relevant in the industry and stay long for quite a while, so you have to keep on reinventing yourself, reinventing your skills.
Catch Women Talk on TV3, stream also on Tonton.
Wanita hari ini. Rayakan sebulan.
Terus raikan kemeriahan Aidilfitri di Wanita hari ini.
Nak buat rumah terbuka tapi pening nak jamu menu apa?
Kami kongsikan idea dan inspirasi untuk rumah terbuka.
Awak, sekarang ni susah betul kita nak percayakan orang
Kena siasat dulu sebelum percaya sesiapa tau.
Aduh, kenapa dah ada rasa sempit
Awak ada asma ke? Jangan ambil mudah.
Dalam rumah tangga perlu ada kerjasama antara pasangan.
Barulah hidup harmoni.
Semuanya di Wanita Hari Ini TV3
dan stream di Tonton.
Wanita Hari Ini.
Ada cerita panas ke?
Angin tu orang guna kipas.
Maafkanlah jika ada terlanjur perkataan.
Single, saya masih single.
Bagus, alhamdulillah syukur. Berkat. Dah cukup 2 dah. Tak adalah nak balik kampung.
We're back with sports now. Football, the 2024 AFC U23 Asian Cup. Indonesia claimed their first victory of the tournament as they recorded a historic 1-0 win over Australia in their Group A match on Thursday night. Now, the only goal of the match came just before the break through Komang Teguh's strike. Australia piled up the pressure against Indonesia but failed to convert their chances into goals. With the results, Indonesia are in second place in Group A with 3 points and will play Jordan in their last group match. Still on football, the AFC Champions League. Al Hilal's record-breaking run of 34 consecutive wins came to a shuddering halt as the Saudi Pro League leaders were beaten 2-4 by Al Ain in the first leg of the semi-final. Sufyan Rahimi put Al Ain in front 6 minutes into the match, guiding home a low shot from just inside the right corner of the area. The Moroccan international doubled his side's advantage 20 minutes later with a penalty following a poor defending by Al Hilal's Al Owais. Rahimi then completed his hat-trick again from the spot in the 38th minute after an Ali Al-Bulaihi's mistimed tackle on Eric Jorgens. Malcolm pulled one back for Al Hilal from close range 4 minutes into the second half when Sergei Milinkovic-Savic drove into the home side's penalty area to set the Brazilian up to score. Alejandro Romero restored Al Ain's 3-goal lead after they were rewarded with another penalty. Al Hilal grabbed another goal with 12 minutes remaining through Salim Al-Dawsari, but it was too little too late to prevent Al Ain from taking a 2-goal advantage to the second leg on April 24th. On to tennis, the 2024 Barcelona Open. Australia's Alex de Minaur ended Rafael Nadal's injury comeback by beating the Spaniard in straight sets. The 4th seed de Minaur took 1 hour and 52 minutes to defeat the 12-time Barcelona champion 7-5, 6-1 in the second round. Nadal looked injury-free but was never in control against the informed de Minaur, who picked up his second career win over Nadal. The 25-year-old Australian will play Arthur Fils in the round of 16. In another match, 5th-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas defeated Austrian Sebastian Offner 6-4, 7-5 to advance to the third round. Tsitsipas won points on 69% of his first serves and cashed in 5 of 8 break opportunities to win in 1 hour and 38 minutes. He will face Spaniard Roberto Cabarrez Baena in the next round. And Nightline returns. Faulty brakes cause bus to crash into 11 vehicles. Stay tuned.
You were the one for me.
Saat-saat manis Gavin dan Dom tidak kekal lama.
To be your lover, forever Dominic Garcia.
Dan mereka mula saling menjauh.
We're drifting apart.
Ganito na lang ba tayo palagi, ha?
Ketika konflik memuncak, Tony muncul menggugat ikatan cinta. To have and to hold. Setiap Sabtu 12:30 hari. Di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Tak perlu nak emosi pun sebab kita dah tak ada apa-apa dah kan. Tunggu masa je tak pulangkan saya dekat mak ayah saya.
Mami tak nak buah pinggang Daddy.
Saya banyak sia-siakan peluang yang awak bagi. Sebenarnya Daddy bukan manusia suci.
Mami pengsan? Ya.
Ini deal yang selayaknya buat dia bahagia. Kau ni merepek apa ni?
Boleh tak kalau sekali ni Mami menerima? Lambat tahu tak?
Iskandar Cempaka, Minggu akhir, Khamis hingga Sabtu, 9 malam di Lestari TV3.
Lawyer, muntah dan cirit birik.
Kalau dah termakan tu, bila dah makan tu dah boleh rasa dah. Rasa dia pahit.
Lebih menggurunkan, dehidrasi akibat keracunan makanan boleh meragut nyawa.
Dah tak boleh, dah tak mampu nak berdiri.
Lihat, hidu dan rasa untuk elakkan keracunan makanan. Perbincangannya di Hello Doktor, Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Thank you for staying with us. 8 Federal Reserve Unit FRU personnel claimed trial at the Seremban Sessions Court on Thursday to the illegal possession of several parts of Java mouse deer in 2021. All of them, aged between 36 and 50, entered the plea before Judge Mazni Nawi. The accused were Rusli Che Omar, aged 42, Jeffrey Mat Taib, aged 49, Muhammad Khalid Ibrahim, aged 50, Azharuddin Yahya, aged 40, Muhammad Izamuddin Zainal, aged 38, Muhammad Yusuf Muhammad Yunus, aged 39, Mahathir Osman, aged 41, and Jasius Joseph, aged 36. They were jointly charged with keeping 8 parts of a Java mouse deer without a valid license in a container placed in the back of a vehicle. The animal came under the protected category under the Wildlife Conservation Act 2010. The offence was allegedly committed at around 1 p.m. on January 17, 2021, along a road at Kampung Kalan in Kuala Bila. The 8 were charged under Section 60(1)(b) of the Act, read together with Section 34 of the Penal Code, which carries a jail term of up to 50,000 ringgit or a jail term of up to 2 years or both upon conviction. The judge set bail at 2,000 ringgit for each of the accused and fixed June 12th for the next hearing. Over in Johor, a vocational college bus ploughed into 11 vehicles at the Jalan Tan Sri Ho Jalan Kluang traffic light intersection after its brakes reportedly malfunctioned. There were no fatalities reported, while 2 women aged 34 and 46 in different vehicles sustained minor injuries. Batu Pahat District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Ismail Dola said the incident, which involved a bus, 2 lorries and 9 cars, occurred around 10:40 a.m. on Thursday. Initial investigations found that the bus, ferrying 8 college students, was coming from the Batu Pahat town area and heading towards Jalan Kluang. The bus driver, in his 50s, lost control of the vehicle due to faulty brakes, which then hit 11 other vehicles which were stationary at the traffic light intersection. According to ACP Ismail, the suspect sustained damage due to the crash, but no one was seriously injured. The 2 victims who suffered minor injuries were sent to Sultanah Nora Ismail Hospital for medical treatment. The case is being investigated under Section 42 of the Road Transport Act for dangerous and reckless driving. Also in Johor, a 19-year-old youth pleaded guilty at the Muar Sessions Court to a charge of raping his 15-year-old girlfriend and impregnating the minor last year. Ong Cheng Jun made the plea after the charge was read out to him before Judge Irwan Swinburne. The accused, an eatery worker, was charged with raping the underage girl at a house in Batu Pahat in January 2023. The victim's teacher learned about the rape after noticing physical changes in the girl before bringing the matter to her parents. On August 21st, the girl was brought to the Sultanah Noura Ismail Hospital for an examination and was confirmed to be 23 weeks pregnant. A police report was then lodged by her parents, and the accused was later arrested at Jalan Tanjung Labuh, Batu Pahat, on September 25th. The victim, who has since dropped out of school, gave birth to a baby boy in October last year. The court fixed April 23rd for case remention as well as sentencing. As we close this edition of Nightline, let's take a look at 8 vintage Alfa Romeo cars, which will go on sale at an auction near Paris on Sunday. Owned by a Franco-Swiss family, the collection includes a 1969 Tipo 33-2 racing model estimated to sell at up to $2.66 million US. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe.